Joe Earth and I are starting a podcast. What should we call it?
Hey, don't pick on me. You know why? Because this is why. Let's see what he says.
The Joe Show?
Give Joe the business?
That's right.
Cup of Joe.
Cup of Joe.
What is happening here?
Would you listen?
We'll give you a chance.
Thank you. That's Joe.
That's Rooster.
And this is the Together We Shall podcast, episode 53. What's up, man?
What is happening?
Oh, it's happening. It's happening. It's summertime, bro. It's like we're right in the midst of it. Like, it's time. It's here. Summer of 2024. I mean, how exciting is it? I think it's exciting, but you don't. You have that look.
It's like exciting and like overwhelming already. I'm like,
Okay.
I was just on the phone with someone and I was like, I'm gonna get all that information to you, but I might need like 2 weeks at this point. Like, I'm recovering from a few days away. I'm getting ready to be gone for 6, come back, and then it's like weekend, Father's Day, birthday parties, end of graduations. It's just like, God bless. Where was like, it's usually like how you feel like in July. You're like, that's me. Like the last week of May to like the first 2 weeks of June. I'm like, stop, write it all down.
Yeah, it's intense. But in July's, like you said, you alluded to July, like that's a whirlwind. You get on the road, you go down to Louisiana, you got the 4th of July, which is Lori and my wedding anniversary. And then you got the whole Sunset 5K thing and then the ride back. And next thing you know, it's like August. It's like, wait. So if there's any lesson to be learned here, it's the idea of just catch your breath, and just immerse yourself in the present, which is a
Immerse
great
yourself
segue.
in cold water. Immerse yourself
Which is
in
a
cold water.
Yes, which is a great segue. So I'm proud to report after a year and a half of watching Joe plunge and asking him questions and learning about its impacts, I am now formally an Ice Barrel 500 owner and have been plunging every day since it arrived. And it is, I believe in the science. This has been great. Recovery, for a big old dude with arthritis and all types of broken things all over the body, the recovery after even a 1 or 2 mile run or a 3 mile run, is revolutionary. I'm not having to reach for an Aleve. Now, granted, it's not just the plunge. You also got to stretch. You also got to, get into your breathing rhythms and be intentional about it. But all in all, like if getting the plunge is enough to be intentional about your regime, your your schedule, then the plunge itself is worth it already, But anyway, so thank you for leading the way on the plunge.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm excited. It's a cool thing. Even on those days where you're like, I've told myself I'm going to do this every day. Like, I'm getting in it. Leanne has pictures of me where it's like raining and I'm like, don't get struck by lightning. She's like, why are you doing this? I'm like, well, I told myself I was doing this today and I don't know when it's going to stop raining. And if I delay this any longer, then life might get in the way. So whatever, it's 3 minutes. I'm going now. Just don't get struck by lightning in this bucket of water.
Yeah. And for all the listeners that are like, what are you talking about plunging in cold water? Like, just Google it. It's all over the place. I know you've seen it somewhere, listener. But when you look at the process, you don't just get this thing and put 30-degree water in it and just jump in. No, there's a process to it. So like I started with tap water, and I'm just now knocking on 59 degrees, and I'm actually at a point now, Joe, and you'll remember when you were at 59, where it's like you feel the initial, oh gosh, but soon thereafter, like 10, 12 seconds later, after your breathing's right and you're exhaling as you go in, you're like, okay, I'm in here, and I'm looking around, and now I'm like, now I'm just going to really enjoy this. So it's really fast, but when you have to ease it down, I guess, at my point, you go from 68 to 63 to 59, and eventually, like, where are you at every day, temperature wise?
42 is where I found my comfort level.
Yeah. So it takes time. And how long did it take you to find 42? You've been plunging for a year and a half.
Man, God, a while. Because I didn't even get my chiller for the first 90 days. 42 is what mine's set at. And that's been my, I could go colder, I could go warmer, but like that's just my my happy median.
We could talk about this for a while, I bet. But
what's neat though is so like
a segue. Are you about to segue?
I am going to try to segue this. Our guest is coming to us not far from where I am right now, former ambassador extraordinaire, race director, and all those fun things. But the race that she helps put on here on the medal recently was Frosty the Snowman in an ice bucket.
How
Dude.
about that? How about that? How about
Yeah.
that for a segue? He did it. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get Kelley in here, our guest for episode 53. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hello, hello.
We got to ask the question, who are you? Where are you physically located? And why do you think you're one of 53 guests on the Together We Shall podcast?
So my name is Kelley Brandon, and I physically live in North Carolina in Surf City area. Mentally, I don't know if I'm really there, but physically, that's where I'm at. And why I think I'm on this podcast, well, I know that we did try before, but due to work hours and stuff, I thought previously it was because of lupus and what I've been around, and usually lupus awareness is in May. So it's now June. So I don't know, but I'm just going to go with the flow and take it.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. Yeah, thank you. We're going to dig into all of that, but just to address this lupus in the room right fast, that is the
Lupus in the
primary
room.
reason. Lupus in the
Lupus?
room. You know,
Lupus in the-
elephant.
Lupus.
Lupus.
It,
I
but
mean,
it has
the
like a
ice
ring
bucket,
to it.
that went with it. The ice bucket,
Yeah.
the joints. I was like, oh, that's good.
So I'm silly, so I don't know why I did like research prior to this. Like
Yeah,
I
what are
didn't
you
know
doing?
that-
Whoa,
like
stop,
like I know
stop.
nothing.
What?
Like I know nothing about you, but you know, you're a corrections officer, and I was like, is it? There's got to be like a month for that, and it was May 2.
Oh, well.
And
so
it was
listen,
like law enforcement torch run. So all these topics we got to get to, but yeah,
Okay.
well,
May is
Joe
your
and I
month.
ultimately we realized that you don't need to like limit yourself. Like we were stressing out about like, oh gosh, no, we got to get her. I was stressing out. Joe's just like, I don't know, but I was like, we got to get her in May, but we got this, we got that, and the other thing, and finally we were just like, just we can reference the fact that May was Lupus Awareness Month and the Special Olympics torch run and law
And that's why we
enforcement
couldn't get you
love.
on, because you were so busy.
Yeah,
You were
that's what it
so
was.
busy in your month. We got you after because we want to debrief how your May was.
Yeah, it's debrief.
Yes. Well, I will say that anytime you're with Kelley, you have to set the tone, and there's no better way than set the tone than Miller time. So, ladies and gentlemen, grab your favorite beverage. And somebody asked me what I'm drinking, but it's Miller time. You need to grab your favorite beverage. I don't care what it is. It can go from water to whatever you are using for your tube feeding Josh Goldstein to whatever Rooster's drinking. So, welcome to Miller time, friends. Enjoy.
Well, so what are you drinking?
I'm double
Oh
fisting.
my gosh. Oh, Kelley's double fisting. Kelley.
I mean,
Yeah.
I got coffee and water.
I guess I'm double fisting too. But
See?
yes, we're all double fisting. So I have to tell y'all, like when I got diverticulitis and was in the hospital for a bunch of days, when I got out, I had to get on this low fiber to mid fiber to high fiber diet. And I've talked about this a lot. Well, in the process was also no alcohol, no sugar to kind of reset everything and figure out what I can handle and what I can't handle. That meant no Miller Lite, which was tough for a good couple of months, but I'm glad that I had that experiment. But it also meant no more iced tea, specifically sweet tea. And if you've known me for any time, it's either water, sweet tea, or Miller Lite. That's pretty much what I drink. And nowadays there's Monster included. Well, that doggone sweet tea is not good for your A1C. So I eliminated sweet tea at the same time that I was going through this journey, the caffeine, the sugar. And just the other day, I have a friend named Chad who was behind the ASICS video. He was the executive director for that. And he has a new client called Pure Leaf. And I don't know if y'all have ever heard of Pure Leaf iced tea, but they have zero sugar sweet tea. This is not old. This is new. Like this is a very new thing. Now, I didn't say I didn't say sweetened sweet tea with non-sugar or with no, like zero sugar sweet tea by Pure Leaf. And they're not a sponsor
Yet.
but maybe one day. Anyway, so try this.
All right. One, I don't. All right,
What?
you're opening it now. Is this how many of these have you had since you found out about it?
This is probably like my 8th in the
all right.
past like 3 weeks.
All right. Well,
Chug.
I'm gonna go get one today and find out. Because like when you go to the store to get them, sometimes it's overwhelming depending on which store it is, right? Because they have like all the different variants.
Yes.
But
Correct.
I don't know. There's 3 Southerners on this show, and
I'm a Yankee.
at first, well, you live in the South now. Yeah, we're not even gonna talk about your northern tea, but you're a
I'm
Southerner
a transplant.
now. Yeah, yes, correct. And I'm a transplant to North Carolina.
So what? What are you trying to say here?
That might be wrong. I don't know. It probably tastes good and it might be better for you, but it's still wrong. When I get sweet tea, especially when I go to Bohongales, also known as Bojangles, like I want extras. Like I want to be able to have to brush my teeth after this. Like
no, so good gosh.
Bohongales.
Yeah.
Tarjay.
Tarjay. Look, okay, I'm gonna wrap this up with this. You're right, man. There's nothing better than some good old Raisin Canes or Bolongale, sweet tea, or going to Smithfield's. I get it, bro. But some of us are watching our A1C. Some of us are 5.9 and don't have enough flexibility to jump above the 6s. And as a result, we still love our sweet tea, but we can't have sugar in it. So I'm telling you, this is the closest thing I have found to matching the syrup that is Bohongale's sweet tea. So, friends, if you're an A1C person, make sure it says new on it. New. Because
is that really what that says in the white? New?
Yeah, new, 0 sugar sweet tea. Anyway, it's so good, delicious. Kelley, what is lupus? Like, I jumping right in because I feel like an education on this is in order, and I do want to ask this kind of also.
Joe did the background.
Yeah,
it's on my screen right here. Yep, highlighted.
I want it from Kelley. But remember Bad News Bears, and they were going to get one for the Gipper and go win the game.
Yeah.
Was his name Lupus, or did he have lupus? Or am I all confused here? The kid. Who is the kid?
We have to Google it.
Yeah. Is there a connection?
Google it.
While Kelley tells us what lupus is there a connection between lupus and Bad News Bears? Anyway, go ahead, Kelley, please.
So I do have lupus and rheumatoids, which is like a double whammy because they're both, chronic. And so they both affect your joints. But basically in my terms, it's a chronic, but it affects like my blood cells and the white blood cells, and it could affect my kidneys, my lungs, my joints, my brain. So it's a disease, but it's a chronic. But obviously, 80% usually it's not a fatal. You have your days, your good days and your bad days. But I don't know, every day is a good day.
Yeah, every day's a good day. When did this start for you? Did you find rheumatoid lupus, if I'm saying that right, as like 6-year-old, or were you like 16, 26, 46? Like you're not even 46 yet, but I don't want to know the answer to that. When did all this start?
What? I'm the same age as you. We are like a month apart in birthdays.
It was a compliment.
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyway.
But I think it's called systemic lupus. I was 32. I kept getting sick. They couldn't find out what was wrong with me, and it was a battle. I kind of felt like doctors weren't believing in anything I was saying. So it wasn't until I had like a flare up and they were able to find the blood cell to find my lupus. It wasn't showing up because it kept being in remission, and you could only find it if it's not out of remission. And my mom found out she had rheumatoids, and that's kind of hereditary. So I got tested for that. They found that. And during that time, I was having like a flare up, and that's where they found my lupus. So it took probably, I want to say 3 to 4 years for the doctors to even, I was just getting sick. I was at FMLA out of work. I really thought I was going crazy because the doctors were like, it's nothing wrong. I'm like, I'm sick.
What do you tell someone who has never done the research on lupus, but maybe what should they be looking for to be able to help their doctors with this diagnosis to prevent 4 years of research?
Like you can get like they do say it's called like a butterfly rash. I don't get a butterfly rash. I get like maybe like rosy cheeks, like, but that's only if it's a flare up. So I can really tell when that's coming. You can get mouth sores. So like when I'm really stressed, they come out, or I try to stay away from lemon and that comes out. A lot of people, like if you're having kidney problems, so when you have it, you should be getting checked every 6 months for all your levels and stuff because, your kidneys can start going. And, memory loss, if you have more than that, your vision, you got to get it checked because, certain medicines could give you even worse, side effects and stuff. But that is caused with the lupus. They put people on medicine. And I, knock on wood, I haven't been on medicine for about 6 or 7 years.
Ah.
So. Mm-hmm.
You went to the doctor for 3 or 4 years and they were like, you're fine. You don't have a butterfly rash. Like you're not flaring up. If you went into the doctor, would you test positive for lupus? Like, or whatever?
So sometimes when I go into it, I'm not testing positive for it. It's when I'm having a flare up. If there's different types of lupus though, and the certain other types will have your blood testing, you'll test positive, I think. I know when a lupus flare-up is coming, and I think most people that have lupus do know because, weather can change. Like I wasn't running for a year because I was having issues. You're on like prednisone and a lot of those steroids. And as you know, steroids can make you get bigger and stuff like that too if you're not watching everything. But my rheumatologist down here, they actually said that what I was eating, Asian natural food, was helping my diet because of it's no preservatives. I was eating all natural stuff and making our own stuff. It wasn't like from the grocery store, already prepackaged and stuff like that. That makes sense.
So it makes sense. Like the outer aisle of the grocery store, don't eat processed food. Mm-hmm. But it shit gets me. It's like, it's not hard. I'm lazy. I'm not going to flare up. I might flare up, but I'm not going to like have an attack or anything. But it's like to know that like that's what it takes is a weird finding, right? To like, like, I mean, how Rooster found out he can't have sunflower seeds.
Right.
Like, I can't like.
Or hard nuts. You can't have hard nuts.
Oh, well, I mean, we just got ranch flavored almonds, the blue, not blue buffalo, blue diamond ranch. Oh my God. You talk about good and new. Oh shit. You go get those. And you have to just have 2 of them.
What are you doing right now?
We're all over the
tangents and thoroughfares. We're all over the place.
But I can't have those almonds that
you can have 2.
No.
What do you mean I can have 2?
2.
Actually, he's
2
right.
kill you?
Will eats 1 or 2, but I'm on him too. And you're not supposed to have popcorn either.
Yeah, let me break this down.
Popcorn. I'm all right without popcorn.
This isn't a podcast about diverticulitis, but I'm gonna do it really fast. When you eat one of those doggone almonds, it gets in your stomach, and your stomach acids, they cannot defeat the almond. So then the almond leaves the stomach and goes into the intestines and makes their way.
One does it?
Yes, and it can get in a little crevice and sit there, and then he'll go.
Oh God, bless America. Yeah. All right. Well, don't eat an almond.
I don't, but you just lost your marbles on how awesome your almonds are.
Yeah, you got to find a non-almond and then just eat that and then just squirt some ranch in your mouth. Ooh. And then it's basically
you can eat a soft cashew.
Yes, I can. Oh, well, I'm scared to. You're right, Kelley.
Yeah, I'm scared too.
But I have found the edamame roasted sea salt beans. Dude, you don't know what I'm talking about?
I know what edamame is.
But so they have I know, doesn't it? But it's a bean, not a nut. And the bean can't survive the stomach acid. So she just brought M&Ms. That's the worst because Kelley just put M&M peanut doggone. I can't even speak because that's sugar. That's sugar and peanuts. Like
So
that's
this
A1C.
is what my staff gives me to
Oh.
stay sane during the day.
Well, grab that and read to us the total sugar and then the sugar added. Now, this isn't an attack on you. This is an education on nutrition
I don't want to
for the
know.
world.
Well, I just like
I
to
don't
say
want to know.
educational, and I'll throw the sponsor out there is that having my joint problems, I could only wear Asics for running and have been.
Ah, look, sound mind, sound body. ASICS, not a sponsor of the podcast, but maybe we
Just
should approach
saying,
them.
it is loved by the people.
Yeah, it is. That is. So maybe we need to approach them about sponsoring the podcast and then putting gear on all of our guests. How
What
about
is
that?
this sugar?
If you're listening to this right now and you message me, I will give you a 40% off code to use at asics.com. 40% off code. Yes.
I don't have a cell phone.
Yes. Well, you
I'm
can.
messaging you.
Yeah. Yes. And it's good for all the things on the whole site to include the discounted items. And yeah, so first step is become a member of asics.com. Second step is to message me for the code. I don't have a bunch of codes, so
Can you
first come,
save me a
first
So
code?
actually, if you're still listening to this, those codes are probably gone.
But I have a whole nother batch of them that renews on July 1st. So if you're really listening, set an alarm to text Rooster on July 1st for an ASICS code. I'm serious. I have like 20 of them available on July 1st for the listeners. Only if they
Okay.
mention episode 53 with Kelley and can define lupus. So anyway, back to the show.
Now it's a
No. I want to help people out.
Wait,
They got some great
sugars.
stuff. Sugars.
24 sugars.
But what's it say next to that by way of percentage?
is that a lot? Yeah, I don't.
Okay. All right. So this is the whole pack of tiny little morsels. And that is total sugars, 24 grams, 23 grams added sugar, 46%.
That 46% of your daily allowed sugar in that little container. That means you eat 2 of those little bags of M&Ms in your Tango uniform for sugar the rest of the day.
I know what it means.
Tango uniform. Look, Kelly's just pissed off about the sugar percentage. But nobody
The
looked
whole
at it.
bag.
So back when there was a guest we had on, we talked about this. The USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture. No. Anyway, somebody with the United
FDA.
States.
FDA.
They
Food and Drug.
directed that all companies put a percentage on their labels now next to total sugar, specifically
Look
under
at him bringing up that
added.
tea again.
Yeah, well, and this one's 0 added sugar because we already covered that 0. But I told this to Camden and his friends all through his senior year in high school. They were like comparing the labels on stuff, and they would text me and it'd be like 132% of your daily sugar in this piece of candy, and I'm like, bruh. So anyway, if you're
One of the worst things, and I lived off them for the longest time, are those old school like vending machine honey buns.
bro,
That one honey bun is like your daily for everything.
bingo.
I would eat like 3 of them.
Right. So good, so delicious. But I'm gonna pull us back to the thoroughfare. Here we go.
Bring us back in.
Yeah, Kelley. So you earlier you were talking about a couple of things. You talked about not running, but then I also know that you run with the Special Olympics and a torch thing. And aren't you like in charge of something related to the torch run, or like you're always at them? What's that about? Is it your day job?
So no, it's not my day job, although I wish I was able to do things for the community for my day job, but that's not how it plans out. But it all came together with law enforcement. Obviously, my whole family has worked in law enforcement, and then that's why I went into it. But the law enforcement torch run is like the biggest fundraiser for Special Olympics. And it helps raise public awareness, obviously, with the law enforcement running with the torch, and they do special events in the community as well. To help raise the money with the athletes so that way they can go to summer games, spring games. Basically, we carry the flame of hope the whole month of May, and it goes into the circle. So, and that's where the officers and a Special Olympic athlete light the cauldron, which opens up to the summer games. So that's basically, and I serve on the state council for Special Olympics, North Carolina torch run, law enforcement torch run, and I represent my department. So there's only 2 of us, and we have the whole state of North Carolina for our department.
Yeah, and so I love all of that. Thank you for the story and for connecting a couple dots that I didn't have connected before. But you were the Southeast North Carolina Ainsley's Angels ambassador. If we go back like 10 years, it was like a satellite branch under Eastern, and then it spread and then became its own thing. And you and Susan just absolutely have carried the torch, pun intended, to make that one of our most successful ambassadorships across the country. But I bring that up because the integration of Ainsley's Angels with this, how did that all happen?
Okay, so I saw y'all in 2013 at the half in Camp Lejeune. So I have been with Eastern, since then, and then we did the satellite. But me and you have talked about this before. Inclusion. We want everybody included. And when I would see that some athletes or, weren't competing in the torch run, I was like, why not? Why can't they? So that's when we integrated, using the chairs and the adaptive equipment. That's why I enjoy Ainsley's Angels so much.
So the whole idea of having Ainsley's Angels integrated into the Special Olympics torch runs is a way for you to ensure that everyone's included in this very large fundraiser for Special Olympics. So an organization that's been around for over 50 years and has done great things for many communities and people. But to take it to the next level, to truly have an inclusive event, I've seen your initiative with that spread across the country. We're seeing this now become like a regular contact in April. Yeah. People are reaching out. Hey, yeah. So hats off to you, because they're reaching out in April and in early May. They're like, we got this torch run coming up. And I know just down there in Baton Rouge, Landis had to work with them to get a chair so the athlete could be included in the torch thing. That's just right off the top of my head, but there's so many more. Our Fredericksburg ambassadorship worked across the river there and did some events in Maryland. Congratulations on this idea of inclusion without limits and getting us to a point now where we can truly celebrate everybody during this torch run. Thank you for that.
That was my mission.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You can see the difference. And I don't think just because someone that has a disability cannot talk or cannot walk, they should be excluded from that torch run. It shouldn't. They can hold the torch just like everybody.
Yeah, it's frustrating in this space sometimes where if the person can't talk or can't smile, that suddenly they're not finding their way into this event. And that crushes me, because Ainsley got to a point in her life where she couldn't smile anymore. She could never walk on her own, and she only said dada and mama for early stages of her life. So ultimately, when it's all said and done, her final year of her life, she didn't smile, she couldn't talk, and she couldn't walk. But I'll be damned if she wasn't running her 100th race in the Marine Corps Marathon. And to think that, like, oh, well, I mean, if I'm being frank, I've had people reference photo ops in relationship to who should or shouldn't be the person doing an event. Not in my Ainsley's Angels family was that conversation ever had, but I've heard people saying, well, maybe this rider should do this because of, and it was thought about through a freaking photo op, like photo porn. Like, that person's not your inspiration. Oh, I'm on a, just stop me. I'm on a freaking clock.
Well, okay, I'm going to stop
getting
you
pissed
because
off.
Can I tell you about this story and Joe was there present this year at this torch run? Well, so it was blasted all over kind of Facebook in May, well, at the end of April, I want to say, because Pender County had their Special Olympics spring games, and the families it wasn't communicated that the families couldn't get on the field. Well, there was a parent and very upset that they didn't communicate any of that with them. And, protocols where usually technically they're not supposed to be on the field with the parents, but, usually volunteers or that coordinator in that area will let them or, kind of work it out. But the father was very upset. And I reached out to the father and was like, and I knew he was a runner. You can lend your legs for your daughter. Like, I was like, bam, all over it. Let me tell you about Ainsley's Angels. So, and I told him and everything. And I was like, and we have a torch run coming up. She could still participate in a Special Olympics event. But let me tell you what you can do with your daughter for all this time. And he was like, yeah, he let her watch the videos, so she was able to decide if she wanted to do it or not. She was able to. And Joe, I was like, I was running all over the place that day, and Susan was doing things, and I was just like, Joe, you need to go talk to this guy. He's new, and you need to talk to him and just give him all the rundown. Go, because I needed, someone to give him advice or tell a father that his daughter is going to be okay with us, because they get really reluctant, and it's amazing. Like, they had such a great time and are coming back for another race with Ainsley's Angels.
Yeah, it was like, I think you were going to the bathroom. Like, I gotta go to the bathroom, go talk to them and figure this out, handle it. And yeah, so I went over and I talked to the mom and the dad and the daughter, and we got her in the chair, and I showed him the 30-second, here, do this, you'll be fine. We ran next to each other for the majority of the race, and yeah, like, she was all in. She was hooked for sure. And like, this wasn't even like the race, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we slow and steady wins the race type of thing, down 17. But yeah, they're coming back. Like, I've talked to them too. Like, they're all in. And it wasn't her. There was another rider that day. The torch is, I don't know, what, 3 feet ish, right? So Kelley's always running around yelling at everybody, let the athletes hold the torch, let the athletes hold the torch. And the one girl, the runner, one of your coworkers, was like, hey, do you want to hold this? And she was like, there's a flame, get it away. But then, like, he just held it next to her and then put her hand on. She was like, this is cool, I'm holding this. Like, I mean, it was like the symbolism of the merging of the organization. And it was just, yeah, it's a neat that's a neat event for sure. I'm 2 or 3 years I've done it now, and I'm glad like that I'm free on those days, because plus it's kind of fun running down that main road, and you have like some people are mad that we're taking up one lane of US 17, this like major thoroughfare for Eastern Carolina. Then like the rest are like slowing down, honking, yelling all sorts of cool stuff. It's like it's a parade. It's
that
it's
one
a good
year
time.
we got. I think you or Rooster got that email stating that Ainsley's Angels was taking up on Memorial Weekend. You guys got that nasty gram, and I was like, oh.
I actually love that, because now you've got this torch run down the road, and nobody's emailing the Special Olympics or the law enforcement entities. Like, you're emailing Ainsley's Angels. We're participating in someone else's thing. But so the challenge out there to all the listeners, especially those that are involved in our Ainsley's Angels efforts in any one of our hundreds of communities, is be aware of next May when the Special Olympics does their torch run. And if it's in your community, help your local ambassador do the research, make the connections. Kelley knows everybody in the country through this process. So let's connect the dots. Let's get more Ainsley's Angels involved in the torch runs in 2025. Speaking of knowing everybody, Kelley, Dave Boyd, like, he's out there, right?
I love Dave Boyd.
What's the story there? Like, how it's such a small world, how things happen. Remind me of that story.
So we were at a conference in Cherokee 2 years ago, and he was there, and I have my AA shirt on, and he's like, AA? I go, well, yeah. And I said, oh yeah, Dave, you were in the Marines, right? He's like, yeah. I go, shh, you must know Rooster. He's like, yes. And I was like, who doesn't know Rooster, right?
No.
So he just speaks so highly of y'all, and he does that Travis
Manion Foundation. So,
but he's got something else too that he's working on. And it is amazing about a father and a son, and they go away at a camp. And I'm like, David is down to earth, so genuine. And just to hear him speak about individuals that have disabilities, it's just like I cry like when I hear him speak. And me and him were at the Cherokee, and the council has to like go in and do breakout sessions. So we have to discuss things. And I don't like talking in front of people if I don't know them. I get really clammy, and I'm like sweating, and I'm like, Susa, because I'm really, really hot, and I clam up and I forget what I want to say. And I'm like a deer in headlights. But he just kind of brings you back down, like, speak from your heart. Truly, some people they forget that. I forget it. But really, that's where it's supposed to come from. And if you aren't there to see their smiles or hear them make noises, because that's how they're communicating, then really you're doing it for the wrong reasons. So
Yeah, you nailed it, and that's probably quotable. That was well stated, Kelley. Thank you. I do want to confirm or clarify something. Dave and I did not meet in the Marine Corps. So, Dave, we met through the Travis Manning Foundation, but the key to that marriage or that relationship is his journey as a law enforcement officer
yes.
and what he's dealt with
Mhm.
in the PTSD space and how he had to leave law enforcement. This is important. He left law enforcement to save his own life.
Yep.
Because of a very traumatic couple of events, but one specifically in the water. We got to get Dave on, Joe. I got to get
Yes.
Dave on the show. I really do. But
Do you want me to text him?
yeah. Well, send him this whenever it goes public and tell him. But Uncivilized is the name of the organization he's with now and executing out in Colorado. And anyway, yeah, I don't want to get too far down
back in for the torch run events. He was supposed to be at our final leg in Raleigh and do our cadence, but he had knee surgery, so he wasn't able to come. But he is, when he comes, his what is the word I'm looking for? I don't know. It's just you just know he's honest and true. And he's just a beautiful soul, I think so.
Yeah. So we definitely will have him on at some point. That's exciting. So we've covered down on the understanding education wise from Lupus. We've talked about the journey of Ainsley's Angels very briefly from the past, almost 12 years, I guess, for you and all the things you've done. We've made this correlation to the law enforcement piece as it applies to the Special Olympics and the torch run. But you're also a mom, full-time raising an amazing Connor. Can you bring us into an appreciation of what that side of your life means to you?
I don't know if I have words for that little guy. He is so with lupus, you have a tough time with getting pregnant or pregnancy or even having that. So I was really high risk when I had him at 36. He was born early. He was a month early. He was taken early because I was having complications. He was having complications. So I would get every week and sorry, they told me it was my fault that I have a child with autism, basically because I was taking drug because of my lupus and my joints. But it's not my fault because that doesn't define him. He's so unique. He just has different, difficulty understanding socially or cues, but that doesn't make him different. So. And AA has been so much for him. Like he's done Ragnar, he's done Marine Corps, but the family and the support we have received, everybody has been our friend and now they're family. And they have helped me. I don't remember all the times I call Susan and be like, gosh, he's so literal. And she'll be like, well, try this. Or I call Michelle, I need help with IEPs, I don't know. He's come so far. And I think he's come far with Will, and God's placed him in our life. As Connor told me, he's a very old soul. I'll just tell you, because not many people know, but Connor's biological dad had a stroke, so he can't talk or speak. And then he got moved, and a child with autism likes the structure. Everything has to be that way, and if you're going to transition, you need to transition them. But he always says that God placed Will in his life because he knew his father's outlook, or he knew what was going to happen.
Connor
said that to me. I was questioning God. I was like, why are you doing this? Why? And Connor said that. He was like, no, God knows, Mom. God knew. That's why he gave me Will, and I couldn't ask for someone more. And we worked together with Connor's dad before. We all stayed connected, and we did it as a family. There was no, and I mean, you've seen me. We've been together. Connor was born in 2011, and I started with y'all in 14. So, I mean, you've all raised Connor yourselves, and you've seen me at my low. You've seen me at my high. And hence why you were at my wedding.
Yeah.
You've seen all that. You've seen me transform into something too. So with everything,
it's been beautiful to watch. I mean, I can reflect back on, the earlier years and opportunities watching you go through, the ending of one, frankly, ending of one marriage and into what became a relationship and then eventually another marriage, and how Connor was always kind of your North Star through that whole process. And I mean, you referenced, Michelle Smith, episode 15 of the podcast, if y'all want to hear her story. And of course, Susan, episode 30 of the podcast, but two great friends of yours who have become sisters in this most beautiful way. And frankly, aunts to Connor. And all of us were at the wedding in Punta Cana, in the Dominican. Gosh, was that 2 years ago now? I brought my whole family.
Yeah, 2 years.
First time my family had passports and traveled outside of the country. Like we don't really go anywhere other than Louisiana, and and we went down there and did that. And I'm reminiscing on that because the role that Connor played that whole weekend was just this beautiful energy. And I remember at the reception, whenever he was watching the two of you, when he was watching you and Will dance, and then how he danced with you all, and just the unity that whole just experience represented. It was just so beautiful. And to continue to see the family of three continue to just spread this brightness to so many people, all the while having these jobs in law enforcement, the correction officers that are doing our work to keep us all safe, and at the same time volunteering to help the community in so many ways. You are a special person, and Connor is makes the world better.
He does.
For being here.
He's an old soul, that kid is.
Yeah. I don't know what dumbass doctor told you that bullshit about what he calls his autism, but I'm looking for that. I'm using expletives now.
Yeah.
This is bullshit. I've never heard that story.
I mean, but like the family that has brought, I mean, you have Beth Ann and Susan, Laura, Brittany, Michelle, but like we all still talk. Like it is all it's family.
Yeah.
They're stuck. You guys are all stuck with us. I know that. But some of us, we don't talk every day, but we don't need to. We know that if we have to call you, you'll pick up, or, and that's the thing. Like Beth in Mississippi, like we've been at international conferences for law enforcement together. Like it's such a great to have AA and that. It's just for the law enforcement side of it.
Yeah. No, yeah, Beth and Jen, good gosh, episode 10.
Yeah.
Listen to that episode. What an amazing one. Now, the title of the episode actually has the word "Our Sisters" in the title length. And another torch run connection where it made it to where riders were included in the runs. And funny fact, this is public. I can say it because there was a news report on it yesterday, news release. Jen is going to Sandy, Oregon, to be interviewed to potentially become the chief of police out there. That is Ainsley's Angels in Northern Oregon, Karen's ambassadorship. Like they're going to welcome them there. So you're talking about coast to coast, really special stuff. And I didn't let anything out of the bag there. I mean, that's a press release. That's open news. Whether she gets the position or not, it's really, really cool to see. Jen knows that her and Beth are going to go be interviewed and be, potentially entertained by or meet with their sister Karen out there. So Yeah, just neat stuff. I love it. Family, I would say strangers yesterday,
Yep.
friends today,
Family.
family for life. And
Mhm.
anytime that mantra gets broken, because let's face it, we're humans. There are times in our journeys where we may have a disconnect from a person,
Mhm.
maybe even a disagreement. But at its core, we all traveled this journey together, and we have that common ground that we can point back to and find our commons and figure out a way where we can connect and carry forth. And so thank you for being amongst the commons, our sister Kelley,
Mhm.
who is no common person. I don't want to use like, World War II adages about uncommon things, but really, really cool. Joe, thanks for listening. What do you have to offer here?
Yeah, the couple things that I was thinking about was I think I forget who said it about Connor being that star and guy. I mean that's the little Batman in him, right? That little the bat
Mm.
signals up there and he's like I got to go
Yeah.
to that. And I mean the same like seeing him like grow up like and yeah, definitely likes his ways, but like I remember when he was like shy on race day, and like he's like coming out of that. I mean, he carried one of the colors the whole torch run this year, and like
Mhm.
led the way basically. Like that's like seeing him do that has been really neat over the years for sure. But I think the big thing, like the friends yesterday, family, stranger yesterday, friends today, family tomorrow. It's like that good people real recognizes real and good people are gonna do good things together. And it's like you're not having the words for Dave Boyd is kind of the same thing, right? Like you didn't have what that word is that represents this genuine, humble
Mhm.
individual, who I'm assuming is all these
Hey,
things because I don't know him. I don't know the guy, but
but
like
that's
I,
it. Like humble. He is so humble.
and I mean, like you said, like you may not talk to Jen or Beth for a year, but then you'd be at the same conference, and it's like you talked to each other yesterday, and that's where like, and I'm still riding that high for me coming off a reunion of Marines. I saw a handful of them a couple months ago, but the preponderance of folks I saw last weekend, I didn't see till last year, and it was like we just left. Like we just left the pool, the hotel, and the bar and the reunion, and then we were back the next day. But it was 365 days, and just pick up where you left off. So that's like the having just those strong, character strengths and morals and values is allows us to kind of weed out those, the bad seeds.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
As you were talking about all these reunions and these moments where people come together after not seeing each other for a long time, that's what our Ainsley's Angels race series has become. And it's the way that y'all have grown it down there in Wilmington, where you have the Frosty 5K every December. And when I'm able to make it, a day that it might not fall on Ainsley's birthday,
Yeah.
um, I
It does
get,
not fall on Ainsley's birthday this year.
This year.
I know, I have
Instead, it
full
falls on
intentions.
another on
Yeah.
until then, it falls on a jackass's birthday.
Yes, the
Oh.
16th is,
It was
yeah,
my birthday.
yeah.
Oh, we can
But yeah,
celebrate even more.
to bring it up just because you have that experience that we extend the invitation to anybody listening to come to any of these races. There's one coming up in July down in Louisiana, the Sunset 5K, the 11th running. Come on down, come have a reunion. If you can't make that, make plans now to come to Wilmington in December and see Kelley or potentially even meet Kelley for the first time. And we do 10 of these things across the year. And we also come together in October, Joe. What's going on in October?
Oh, the Spirit of Inclusion in Fredericksburg, Virginia.
And then the following weekend is the
49th running of the Marine Corps Marathon in Washington, D.C. And it's also our 10th running, Ainsley's Angels' 10th year participating. So spots are still available. Joe at Ainsley'sAngels.org, and I'll
yeah.
see you in D.C.
Will you be in DC this October, Kelley, or you have other things planned?
No, I have blocked it off my calendar. I do know that there may be a secret tent, possibly, that Joe is working on. That
We have our charity tent, and we got some awesome people that are going to help man that. Yeah.
So during the race at like mile 22 or something, you
yeah,
might see Kelley handing out frosty beverages. Got it. Okay.
or
Sugar
frosty
free,
shot,
sugar free, of
sugar
course.
free, of course. Yes,
Sugar
sugar
free,
free,
of
Man,
of
course.
course.
yes, yes. No,
Favorite
that's
Coke
cool.
water.
We'll look forward to seeing you, and yeah, we'll be with you as well. We'll be able to have the whole family, or is this like a girls' trip? What is this? Ah, a girls' trip. Well, Will, I don't know if you knew about this, but there's a
Yeah.
girls' trip planned for you.
And you're saying it like Will's gonna listen to or watch
I
a
know, yeah.
podcast.
Right. That's perfect. Like Will is who's Will, by the way? Well, that's your husband. He is a staunch listener. He's listened to all of the Together We Shall podcast episodes.
He
Anyway,
has
good.
an hour drive to work. Yes, that is
Yeah,
it.
I got a text from him not too long ago, and he was like, it was something like, "I see you," and I'm driving. I'm like, "Where?" And I was going
shoot.
by where he's right over here. I'm like, God, what did I do? What have I done? Oh,
Well, that's
don't
good.
take me to work with you.
I do
Well,
want to say though, with two things though, because you mentioned Little Man, um, and he was mentioning Batman, but his chair, his Phoenix that he received from MCM, they did that for Batman, and he gave it. I have a video of him, and he gave it back to Southeast for his chair because he says it's time for him to lend his legs for everyone, for individuals, because I got to find this video, but to see that we have blossomed from him, athlete rider, to where now he's obviously he'll always will have a guide with him, while he's pushing and stuff like that. And I know that Susan pushed with him one time too, and he could barely see over the Phoenix, but but now he can, but to see him go, and it's just amazing, and that he's willing to do all that too, it's nice that we're instilling everything in him, and that it's come full circle.
I mean,
it's come
that, like,
full circle.
yeah, right. Inspired, be inspired. But you talk about like some of the like anomalies of our family, right? Like the unicorn, Ainsley's Angels, and Jill. It's not often that a rider is able to, yeah, transition to be a runner. Like that takes determination. I mean, and to have that at, you know, 10 years, was it 10, 8, whatever he is, right?
So no, he'll be 13 in November.
13. Oh, the
But
wrong way.
last year, like 2 days before our torch run last year, was when his father had the stroke. So he said he wanted to run because it would give him a good outlet, like run. I was like, okay.
brilliant. Yeah,
And
running.
that kid, he ran 5 miles with the guide on,
Mhm.
just like he did this year. So yeah,
Yeah, amazing. I mean, the whole idea
it
that
clicked.
he's got this wisdom well beyond his years. But you know what? You know what clicked? I think if you go back to the fact that he had that sense of belonging, he gained that confidence, he knew that doing a race at 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, that's what he does. He is an athlete. And as time's gone on, he's now evolved to where he's running on his own. But that's made possible by that sense of belonging that brings about confidence within a person to say, I can do this. And it applies to every one of us. If you really think about it, the first time you ever did a road race, there's this sense of, oh gosh, I don't really know. Like, can I do this? These people are fast. They run. They're runners. I'm not a runner. But man, once you get in there and the running community loves you, or the Ainsley Angels community embraces you, and you get that sense of, I do belong here, you become a runner, just like Connor's doing now. And I think he also figured out along the way at a young age that by getting out there and moving and being involved in this, it felt good. But at its core, he's human. And he figured out through his experiences that this will feel good and it is an outlet. And I bet you there's a lot of runners that can relate to that, regardless of their age. Thanks for sharing
Yeah,
that, Kelly. That's
especially with
huge.
the stuff that we go through every day inside, and even in law enforcement in general, we need an outlet. We need something. And they were talking about PTSD and all that at a conference we were at. And it was like, people that are suffering from PTSD, they need to have another outlet that brings them joy because it's blocking out all the bad stuff. And, but eventually that high will come down. It's a whole bunch of stuff, but it is true in some type of ways because we have such negativity day in and day out that when we do a race or we're with our other family, it gives a sense of joy and it takes away all that negativity. a lot of people can't understand. They're like, well, you're so happy in this and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, not inside. I'm not. So, I mean, but you have to shut yourself off and turn it on. And it's, some days are worse than others, but I was having a rough week last week, or it was a couple of weeks ago, but I was at a Pender school doing something, and who ran up to me was Brooke, one of our athlete riders. And her hug just took it all away. And I was just like, it's just like amazing. That's what you need. And everybody needs love in their life. So positivity. So I don't know.
Yeah. Like you talk about that high, like everybody needs love and everyone needs an outlet of some sort for whatever it takes for you. If it's an hour a week or a month for you to get that and do it, whether it's a run or sitting on the beach with a book or a margarita, whatever the case may be, like everyone has to find that outlet, regardless of like a mental health or PTSD thing, because otherwise at some point you're gonna burn out. I mean, batteries don't last forever. You know what I mean? Like they either got to get recharged or replaced, and we're the same way. We got to recharge and replace our emotions from time to time. So yeah.
Damn, that's quotable. Well stated, bro. Well stated. That's awesome. Anything else you want to offer before we give Kelley the final word?
I'm going to mention it, but it could be a tangent. There's this new show on well, I think it's new on Netflix. I'll look it up, and I'll text it to you, Kelley, but or Rooster too. It's about a prison in Arkansas. They're trying this experiment, in X block or unit or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Where they're like, hey, we're going to open the doors and we're going to remove the guards. And if y'all want to live good, you got to be good people. And they come in and they do the full sweep. And that's where we're at episode 2. So I don't know where you're at. So don't tell me. I'm not going to tell you, but I'll find the name of the show and text you. Because when like Leanne came across it, I'm like, this is stupid. This thing, what do you mean it's a series? It's going to be over in 6 minutes. This is not going to work. But you talk about a social experiment, I'm like, man, we got to stop recording because I need to go watch an episode type of thing.
I'm trying to find it, dude, because I watched all 6 of them. And I did last month. Kelley,
Unlocked.
How many?
It's called
Unlocked. Kelley,
Unlocked.
how many cell blocks do you have? Well, that's Blueprint. You can't tell me about that. But don't you have certain people in the jail you work at? Correct me if I'm wrong. Aren't there multiple cell blocks, and each cell block has multiple cells? Do I have that right?
Not at our facility. We're dorms.
Oh, sorry.
So we
Suddenly, I don't feel bad about committing a crime in Pender County. I get the dorm, in a dorm room.
Well, if you want to share your underwear with someone, go right ahead.
Oh, wow.
Are we the same size at least? Are we the same size at least? How does that work?
I mean, you could. I mean, it might not fit you correctly, but I mean, you have to turn in your old ones to get some new ones, but they're not new. I mean, they're washed.
I'm not for that.
But are all the dorms like, is it one big thing with a whole bunch of dorms, or they have different categories, like different areas? The reason for my question isn't to know the blueprint of your jail. It's to offer relevance to Joe's Unlocked referral. Ultimately, there's like 6 different areas, perhaps, of this jail in Arkansas. And one of the areas underwent this experiment of opening the doors and keeping them open 24/7. That's not like the people can leave the jail. They can just roam around the cell block. Am I saying that right, Kelley? Yeah. Okay. So will it work? Will it not work? Go watch Unlocked.
It probably will, because minimum custody facilities, they can walk around.
Wanting to say something, but she's muted or something.
No, I can hear her. I can hear you.
Oh, I can't hear either one of you. No, I don't know what happened, but it's cool.
I can hear you.
All right.
You're cut off. No suit for you.
So yeah, Unlocked. I'm only through 1 episode, and then we'll talk about it. Yes, 46 inmates, and it's a 2-story thing, so I don't know, and it's 46 rooms, but it's not maximum security, but they're on the 24-hour one, so they're locked down, and they took all the shanks and all the shivs and all that crazy stuff away, but like, I mean, it could still bash your head in to this table before a guard gets in there. I'm like, man, So I don't know. Rooster's like, he feels left out right now.
No,
Look at
no.
him.
I
He's
can hear you all now. It's exciting.
He's like reaching.
So-
He's like, oh, play.
I'm like, maybe the batteries died on the headphones, like I'm like,
I don't know
No.
what happened.
Well, yeah, batteries do die. You just got to replace them.
see,
But he's back. Look,
batteries.
he replaced them. He's back in the fight.
I just like put that whole pun right back in there. Yeah, I mean, batteries.
Yeah. Wow. Gosh, that was good. That was good. The tie back to your batteries don't last forever. Well done. Hey, listen, neither does this podcast. As much as we'd like to continue to go forever, we have to wrap it out. And I think I might actually not edit this at all. It was such a great conversation. I don't think there's anything in here I need to edit. Maybe some ums and some ahs, but I'm just gonna let it roll. So I'm going to ask the friends before we hand Kelley the microphone to give me some feedback. Email podcast@ainsleysangels.org and let us know if this podcast without edits was enjoyable by way of not just the flow, but just the lack of edits. I'm curious.
I like that you're curious and that you have confidence that people are actually going to email podcast that.
I know. We have more than 10 people email us ever? Podcast@ainsleysangels.org.
Yeah. But not like per episode or anything like that.
Oh, I'm probably going to do it every week now. I mean,
Tell the world to go listen to other episodes or just listen to one. Shit.
okay, well, let me be honest. I've only
Yeah.
listened to a few. The ones that I kind of choose to listen to, like I feel like I want more, but then I listened to the dance one and I was like, wow, why am I wasting my time driving an hour to work bebopping to music when I could be listening to this? And that's where I was like, oh, how am I missing this? Because I was listening to you guys banter in the beginning and I'm like, what this is like when it first started. And then I'm listening to it more and I'm like, oh, it's kind of actually pretty funny. I opened my brain a little bit more because, some people just shut it down. No, I'm not going to listen to that one. I'll flip, and you pick and choose when really you shouldn't pick and choose. You have to open your brain to everything, I guess. So
Day there's not like laughter in one is the day that Joe resigns.
Yeah.
Even if it's like, I don't know, 50 minutes of like deep, but like there's got to be some laughter or I don't want to play anymore. For me, like it helps like talking to someone that I know. Like occasionally when we get like a stranger-ish on, it's harder, but like Rooster came, from the finance meeting earlier today at Chris's house. I was like depositing checks at like 11:30 and I was like, God, I don't want to do this today. Like I have so many other things that I have to get done. And then I was like, yeah, but it's Kelley. It's going to be a good time. So like,
I can't text her to tell her we have to cancel. So I mean, like I'm kind of stuck, like you're just stuck. This was a good outlet, even for me. Like I'm like, can we keep talking? Because this is like making me happy today.
The whole reason that we do the podcast, frankly, and is and it is an outlet. Like because anytime Joe and I talk during the week, 90% of it's probably Ainsley's Angels related. Now the texting, that's different. That's a different fucking story. Like God only knows what's getting texted. But the talking is usually, okay, let's cover down on this, or it's a meeting with a senior vice president, or it's this, that, and the other. Whereas with the podcast, like there's elements of Ainsley's Angels thrown in almost every episode, but it's really snippets. And
you know what some of the texting is, Kelley? About the Pillow Fight Championship.
yeah.
Did you know there is a Pillow Fight Championship League? Not only are we smacking people and causing fucking brain damage on national television, now you can hit somebody with a pillow.
Huh. I'm not going to tell Connor that because he does love a good pillow fight. So
yeah, but grown men doing it for money, and it was weird. Like I was like they just ate 50 fucking gummies because they're like not. It was just like, I don't know. I was not impressed. They were high. Something was wrong. They were off. It's like,
but did it give you something to laugh at? Did it make you laugh?
What made me laugh was the commentary of Lori, because like he's videoing it on their screen of the TV, and then Lori's like, one of them's wearing shoes and the other's not. What's happening here? And I'm like, yeah, why does one have shoes on and the other one doesn't? What? Who has the better grip? Now I don't know. Shoes or no shoes?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And they were just like Brooks tennis shoes. Like they weren't even like They weren't even anything cool like Asics.
Yeah,
Asics,
well done,
right?
Well done. Yeah. I've never tuned
Well
into
done.
that shit.
Well, I mean, well done. It's kind of like Duracell, you keep on going.
Jesus,
Oh,
battery
the batteries.
She's a battery lady.
But also, since we are going to keep talking guests, it was Timmy Lupus from Bad News Bears. So his name was Lupus. Timmy Lupus, played by Quinn Smith.
Can
If
I
you
just text
email
you?
podcast at ainsleysangels.org, I'm going to reserve 10 of those codes to only give to people that actually send the email.
Oh,
So-
man. Now you might have to do some editing. Kelley, you can text them, but you have to text them within the next 60 seconds.
You can't do that to me. That's not fair.
I was waiting for you to just be like, "Whoosh," and just run.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going on another lunch.
I'm going on another lunch. All right. Anyway, this was good. This was great. I'm going on mute because Kelley, you have the microphone the rest of the show. So take us home. What do you want to leave people with as they continue their day?
Don't take anything for granted. Enjoy every minute that you can, because you never know.
You know what? I got enough.
He's in charge.
We're done. This was good.
Yeah, we're done here. The structure of this building has reached its capacity.
Find your people, and if they make you feel sexy, even better.